Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home. Thanks for coming back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a pretty interesting review because we're going to be taking a look at the Criterion Collection Blu-ray release of Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. And we're going to be talking about how this Blu-ray looks and how it sounds, but we're also going to be doing a direct comparison to the Netflix 4K stream. This is a very interesting instance where the 4K version of this movie is only available digitally through a Netflix stream, and the only way to own it on physical media is in 1080p Blu-ray. So we'll take a look at how that compares to a 4K stream and whether this is really worth picking up. Now, before we jump into that, if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. I have lots more physical media, movie-related content, home theater stuff coming, so you're going to want to be subscribed for all that. And with that being said, let's jump right into this review. So The Irishman, what a really good movie, I thought, and what a movie that's taken a long time to come about. The movie like this has been in the works for a very long time, and it possibly could be the last time we see this group of actors get together with Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. You know, they're late in their careers now. This may never happen again, especially with Joe Pesci coming out of retirement specifically for this movie, and really it taking a lot to get him to do that. And the movie's about 3.5 hours long, and I thought it was pretty good. It's your typical Scorsese stuff. I'd say, you know, it's not as good as Goodfellas, but it's better than some of his movies like Casino. It's right there in the middle of the pack with Scorsese stuff, which still probably puts you in the top 5% of all movies, because Scorsese stuff is really incredible, and his catalog of work is obviously amazing. So the movie's pretty fun. It tells this very long story and goes over a lot of years of these guys' lives, and it kind of centers around Jimmy Hoffa and the unions and mob connections and crime and hitmen and all that good stuff that you expect from Scorsese. So I had a good time with it, and I did originally watch it on Netflix back in November of 2019 when it was released. So this movie didn't really get a theatrical release. It went right to Netflix. That's where Scorsese was able to get distributorship, so that's where they put it. And now, just about a year later, almost to the day, November of 2020, The Irishman came out from the Criterion Collection. Criterion's been doing a lot more Netflix movies lately, which is really interesting. Seems like they have some sort of close connection to release physical Blu-ray releases of Netflix movies, but Criterion has not jumped into 4K yet. So although this was shown on Netflix in 4K with Dolby Vision, here on the Blu-ray disc, we have that 4K master, of course, but we don't get the Dolby Vision, we don't get the HDR, we don't get the 4K resolution. We're on a 1080p Blu-ray. So the first thing to talk about here is really the comparison between the visuals on the Netflix 4K stream and the 1080p Criterion Blu-ray. So you know from my past videos, I've talked about this with streaming, that I consider a 4K stream minus the HDR to be about the same quality as a 1080p Blu-ray. And in previous reviews I've done of Criterion 4K mastered 1080p Blu-rays that I've compared to other 4K transfers, Pan's Labyrinth and Doctor Strangelove being two of them, they are basically, the difference is negligible. You wouldn't even be able to tell which is the Criterion and which is the 4K disc, because Criterion does such a good job on their 1080p Blu-ray transfers. And watching this, I got the same feeling. The 4K, even with the Dolby Vision, that 4K stream, gave you about the same level of quality that this 1080p Blu-ray does, and I honestly did not see a massive difference in color grading at all. You know, it may be that the Criterion Collection and the transfer that they worked on was color corrected to look more like the HDR version. Maybe there is some SDR version out there that Criterion then color corrected to look more like the Netflix stream. And I've got a few screenshots for you here, which we'll talk about. But I mean, if you just look at colors here in fine detail, these were all taken with my iPhone 12 Pro camera, which is a fairly good camera. This camera can actually shoot in Dolby Vision for video, and it's a pretty quality camera. I took these screenshots right off my Sony screen, so that gives you a little bit of a comparison just at a high level. But if you guys can see a difference between the two of these, even from color, even from high level detail and quality, please let me know, because I personally did not see a big difference. These look almost identical, and especially in terms of color. Now, as we zoom in on a couple of these, that's where you can start to see a little bit more of the quality difference, but I thought it would be more noticeable, and in certain instances, I actually think that the Blu-ray has less compression and is a little bit better quality even than the 4K stream. So I give an edge to the Criterion Blu-ray here. So overall, from a visual standpoint, if we're talking about the Irishman Blu-ray, while it would have been great to get a 4K disc, and I think this could have been an incredible 4K transfer, the 1080p Blu-ray here we have from Criterion, it's pretty damn good. It's right on par with the Netflix 4K stream. So, you know, I would say it is as good as we could get on physical media at this point without a true 4K disc. You certainly won't be disappointed, and you're certainly not missing out on anything by not watching this on Netflix in 4K. This disc is just as good, and you'll have basically the same exact experience from a visual standpoint. Now, before we jump into audio, I do want to say a quick thanks to our sponsor. The video today is sponsored by Mob Wars La Cosa Nostra. Mob Wars is a pioneer of the text-based mafia game genre, and it's been enjoyed by millions of players. So obviously, with the Irishman being mob mafia themed, they were a perfect sponsor for this video. So if you like mafia themed games like this, you can sign up for free by clicking on the link in the description to join this world of crime and power in Mob Wars. So now, from an audio standpoint, what we've got here on this Criterion disc is Dolby Atmos, and according to the back cover here, this was a new 4K digital master, which was approved by Martin Scorsese. Now, I'm not sure if that means it's new from Netflix or, you know, whatever that means, but it does have the Dolby Atmos soundtrack. So the Netflix Dolby Atmos compared to a Dolby Atmos on a disc, I always prefer the disc. Now, is there a super noticeable difference? Probably not, but getting Dolby Atmos here on the disc does give you just a less compressed audio. Even Dolby Atmos, when it's on Netflix, has compression worked in. So even though Atmos is that lossless audio format, Netflix has to compress some of that, and they have pretty good compression methods. I'll be honest, they do a decent job. They've come a long way, but it's still not the same experience as the disc. So the Dolby Atmos here, it's a pretty good experience. Most of this movie is heavy on the dialogue, so the Atmos doesn't add a whole lot. You probably could get away with a regular 5.1 track on this and not really see much of a noticeable difference, but very clear, very well mixed all around, and it is nice to see Criterion going with that Atmos mix and giving you the highest quality. Now, the other thing to think about when you're talking about should I just watch this on Netflix or should I pick it up in physical media is obviously packaging, having it on your shelf, and extras, special features. So here we got the packaging, nice little slipcase. This is pretty standard stuff from Criterion. On the inside, we've got this cardboard fold out, and then that's what holds your discs. So you've actually got two discs here because they have a bunch of extras on disc 2, and it also does come with this booklet, I Heard You Paint Houses, which is like the alternate title, and talks about the master on here and how they went about 4K resolution using a combination of digital cameras and the 35mm original camera negative, all the like aging, the de-aging, all that CGI and special kind of effects there, and it was all color graded and supervised by Scorsese. And then there is a nice long essay in here by Jeffrey O'Brien. So cool stuff just within the packaging itself. So that's obviously you know, huge added benefit over Netflix. You don't get any of this. And then other extras, we've got a roundtable conversation with Scorsese and De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci. We've got Making the Irishman, a new program with Scorsese, the actors, producers, and director of photography. We've got a new video essay on here about the movie. We've got Anatomy of a Scene, which is a 2020 program where Scorsese breaks down Frank Sheeran's Appreciation Night scene, a feature on de-aging, digital de-aging, interviews with Frank Sheeran, the real Frank Sheeran, and Jimmy Hoffa from 1999 and 1963, trailer and teaser, English subtitles, and then the essay by Jeffrey O'Brien on the inside. So obviously you're not getting any of that on Netflix. So if you like this movie and you're really interested, especially in De Niro and Pesci and Pacino and Scorsese and their long-term relationship over the years and how they finally came all together here for this movie. There's a lot of interesting behind the scenes and commentary that you're just not going to get on Netflix because it's not their platform. They don't provide that for the most part. Every now and then they have some specials, but you can't go into a menu of special features all loaded onto another disc like this, just full of really interesting stuff, interviews, behind the scenes. That's another advantage of physical media. So overall, the Irishman Criterion Collection, I say this is a must-have pickup. I think this is a really great Blu-ray release. Obviously, Scorsese and the Criterion team did a great job on this Blu-ray transfer. It is very faithful to what we saw on 4K and Netflix, down to quality, down to detail levels, down to colors. Everything looks and sounds as good, if not better, than the Netflix 4K. So you're not missing out by not streaming this in 4K. This is an excellent Blu-ray disc. I highly recommend it. Criterion has done a great job again, and it really does show me why Criterion isn't super excited about the 4K format, because although this would have been a great 4K disc and could have seen some really quality upgrades in just detail and resolution over a Blu-ray, they do such a good job, and I think they figure that the Criterion Collection community isn't really, they're not ready for 4K as much as some of other collectors are. So there's a couple reasons why they do it, but man, they do such great 1080p releases. I can see why they hold off on 4K in many instances. So I'll leave a link down in the description. You can pick this up. Also check out that link for Mob Wars, who sponsored this video, so I appreciate them sponsoring. Obviously, Criterion Collection movies are not cheap, and I have to go out and buy all of those myself for reviews like this. So I appreciate them sponsoring the video and supporting the channel. And ways you can support the channel: follow me on Instagram, check out all the other links down in my description, maybe join the channel as a member for just $2 a month. There's lots of ways you can support. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching this review. I'll be back soon with more. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.